Today in our 2015 Jeep Wrangler, we'll be having a look at and installing the Roadmaster Universal High Power Diode Wiring Kit, part number RM-154. Alright, with the Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit installed on our Jeep, we don't have to worry about using magnetic tow lights when we're flat towing our Jeep behind our motorhome. This will utilize our factory bulbs and the factory taillight assemblies, giving us all the functions required by law in order to safely flat tow our vehicle behind our motorhome. We'll have our working taillights, turn signals, and brake lights, treating our Jeep like a trailer behind our motorhome. With these diodes, we don't have to worry about any voltage from the RV being backfed into the sensitive electronic components of our Jeep, causing damage. Now that we've gone over some features, we'll show you how to get them installed. To begin our installation, we're going to start with swapping out our connector on the end of our wiring harness. It ships as a 4-pole flat on both ends, but for our purposes, we'll be using a 6-pole round from Pollock, part number PK11609. So we'll just cut off the end here. And strip back the insulation on all 4 wires. Okay. Those stripped back, we'll take our 6-pole. There's a Phillips screw right here in the top. We'll remove that. Open the door and push the connector on through the front. Take our wires, stick them through the back. We can start making our connections now. Okay, now on the back side of our connector, we'll find there's 6 screws that will hold our wires in place. The ground wire is the one marked G, the one for our right turn signal and right brake lights, the one marked R, the one for our left turn signal and left brake lights, the one marked L, and then our tail lights or running lights is the one marked T. So we'll start with our ground wire. Okay, with our set screw for the ground backed out, we'll take our white wire, stick it inside, and tighten down the set screw. Okay, we'll do our left turn signal next. That'll get our yellow wire. And now we'll do our right turn signal, and that'll get our green wire. Make sure all our wires are nice and secure. Now we'll do our tail lights, which is our brown wire. Okay, with our connections made, we'll now pull our connector and put it back inside. We'll line up the hole and reinstall our screw that holds it in place. Because we don't have a rubber grommet or anything to seal the back to prevent corrosion from occurring, what I'm going to do is take some electrical tape and go down our wire here a little bit. This will help hide any of the colored wires behind our fascia here too as well, and wrap it to the front of our connector. With that all wrapped up, you can see how it's all sealed off now. Okay, now we'll take the connector off the other end. Okay, we had a hole drilled right here in the middle of our air dam for our wires for a breakaway switch for our braking system to go through. Our 4-pole flat wiring will go through there as well. We'll be able to mount our connector right here on the provided studs on our base plate. So we'll just pull this on through all the way. You can see where our connector now sits, and we'll secure it with a couple self-tapping screws. All right, we went ahead and routed our wire to the back of the vehicle, making sure we avoided any moving parts such as the steering, suspension, or any sources of heat such as the exhaust. Our wire comes out through our air dam here, goes above our front sway bar, and is secured to this wiring harness with a couple zip ties. Continues its way back. We go below this heat shield for the upper controller mount to protect it from the catalytic converter since that's really hot. Follows this wiring harness back again. Goes above our fuel tank, where we have it secured to a wiring harness above the fuel tank. We go above a couple cross members in the frame, above the heat shield for our exhaust, where we come out back over here at the end of the vehicle, where we can draw it up inside and connect to our taillights. Okay, now we can remove our taillight assemblies. There's 4 screws. The only ones we need to remove are the 2 inner Phillips screws. Then you can grab the taillight assembly, work it out, find a connector on the back side, push on it, and separate it. Repeat the same process on the other side. Now, inside our passenger side taillight assembly pocket, you'll find a bunch of styrofoam spray and insulation. We need to remove this. So you can just stick your hand in there, grab it, break it up. Okay, now we have all that insulation cleared out. We're underneath the vehicle again. There's this black triangular piece here. We can pop this up inside the vehicle and run our wires through. It'll come out our hole for our taillight assembly, and we'll just pull it up all the way. Okay, all 4 of our wires that are started to be separated here, we'll separate them the rest of the way now, all the way down. Okay, our white wire again is a ground wire. We need to ground this to our vehicle's chassis to provide a supplemental ground. So we'll measure off about how much we're going to need, cut off the excess, strip off some insulation, take our provided ring terminal, crimp it on down. Now we'll use our provided self-tapping screw and the ring terminal and secure it to the sheet metal of the vehicle. Okay, now our wire loom here on our connector, we'll just split it open and expose our wires inside. And we'll cut off the loom. Okay, now we have wire that we can work with. We'll turn our headlights on now so we can find out which wire controls our taillights. All right, we have a test light hooked up to ground, and we'll probe our wires on the connector to find out which one it is. Okay, it's this middle one here on the top, which is the purple and white wire. So that is our taillight wire. So we'll start making our connections off that. So we'll just take our purple white wire, cut it right in the middle. And we'll strip back some insulation on both ends. Take one of our spade connectors here, stick it onto our wire, crimp it on place. Make sure we're using the blue ones for this. We'll do the same on the other end that we cut. Now we'll take one of our diode packs, the output side, which is the side that only has one connector, will go towards our connector that plugs into our taillight assembly. And the other end will go towards the input side. Okay, now we'll take our brown wire here, measure off about how much we're going to need, cut off the excess. Now we will strip back both ends of insulation. We will take these 2 wires and twist them together. And we'll use our yellow spade terminal, stick it on, and crimp it down. And we'll plug that into the other input side of our diode pack. Okay, now we have our right side turn signal on, and we'll test to see which wire controls that. Okay, it's this top right connector, which is our yellow and white wire, which is located right here. So we'll turn our turn signal off now, and we'll cut our wire in half. We'll strip these back, just like we did the other one. Placing on our blue spade terminals. These are the only color ones we have left now. Take our diode pack, input side away from the connector, output side towards the connector. Additionally, what I'm going to do is peel off the tape here on one side and stick our two diode packs together. Now we'll take our green wire, measure off how much we're going to need, cut off the excess, strip off some insulation, place on a connector, crimp it down, and plug it into the other input side. Okay. The brown wire that we reattached and the yellow wire, we can drop back down through the taillight hole. Okay, now the black piece that we popped out earlier, we're going to cut a notch in it so our wires have a place to pass through. Okay, with that notched, we'll just pop this back into position. With the panel pushed back in place, you can see our wires coming through where we notched. Now we'll run our brown and our yellow wire over to our driver's side, making sure we avoid any sources of heat. All right, so we ran the two wires above our frame. When above the heat shield for our muffler, this will protect it. When above the frame, again, on our driver's side, and we secured it up to this vent tube here with a zip tie. And then we'll run it through this passage here, which will go up to our taillight area. Okay, so we'll grab our wire, really pushed up, and we'll just pull it on out. All right, our vehicle is equipped with a tow wiring package, so we're going to disconnect that temporarily. It's by separating the tab, so we have access to our wires here, and we'll remove some of our electrical tape here. Okay, with our wires exposed now, we have some to work with. We'll turn our headlights on again and find out which one of our corresponding wires controls that circuit. Okay, so it's this middle top one, which is our orange and white wire. So we'll turn our headlights off now and make our connection. And we'll strip these back, place on our connectors. Okay, we'll take our diode pack now. Again, the output side always goes towards the connector, and then the input side. Okay, now we'll take our brown wire, measure off about how much we're going to need, cut off the excess, strip off some insulation, and place on connector. Put it into the other input. All right. Now we'll turn on our turn signal and find out which wire controls our turn signal. Okay, so it's the top right connector, which is our green and white wire, which is right here. So we'll turn off our turn signal now and make our connections. Strip these back, place on our terminals. Okay, again, we'll peel off the tape, apply our two diode packs together, and make our connections. Okay, now our yellow wire, to measure off how much we need, cut off the excess, strip it back, crimp on our terminal, put it on the other input side of the diode. Okay, with our connections made, we'll now plug back in the tow package wiring. Plug back in the taillight. Okay, on the passenger side, it's just as simple as plugging it back in, since the tow package wiring is only on the driver's side. Okay, we have a trailer tester plugged in to our Jeep right now, and we'll run through our functions to make sure our diodes are working properly. If you don't have a trailer tester like this, you could also just plug it in the back of your motorhome and run your functions that way, make sure everything's working. Start off with our tail lights. Now we'll do our right brake light. Our right brake light will also double as our right turn signal. And as you can see, that's working. We'll do the same on our left now. And as you can see, that one's working as well. And that completes our look at and installation of the Roadmaster Universal High Power Diode Wiring Kit, part number RM-154 on our 2015 Jeep Wrangler.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at eTrailer.com.